Arsenal are one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, with an invincible season and a legendary past under Arsene Wenger. The team is moving forward in the modern era, with a manager like Mikel Arteta, who's worked as the assistant for Pep Guardiola, and with such players as Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Alexandre Lacazette, Bernd Leno, Mesut Ozil, and so much more. When it comes to players the club could have signed but never did, that is an entirely different story. I'm Arsene, and today on the CHALL, we're going to be taking a look at 3 Arsenal players that never became Arsenal players. In January 2012, Chelsea signed Gary Cahill from Bolton Wanderers for £7 million, but that transfer may not have happened, and he may be at the Emirates Stadium if things turned out very differently. In 7.5 seasons at Stamford Bridge, Gary Cahill won 8 major trophies, including the Champions League. It could all have been very different though, with 6 months before Cahill's move to Chelsea from Bolton Wanderers, Arsenal tried to sign him in the 2011 summer transfer window. Cahill stayed and was sold in the next window to Chelsea, and Cahill is still going strong, playing regularly in the Premier League for Crystal Palace. Judging by his form before the season was suspended, he wouldn't have too much trouble getting into the current Arsenal backline. The centre-backs already at Arsenal Football Club at the time were Johan Doidrou, Sebastian Squillaci, Pierre Mertesacker, Laurent Koscielny and vice-captain Thomas Vermaelen. So with the current climate and with Gary Cahill in his prime at the time, Gary Cahill would have been a perfect fit in the Arsenal backline first team, and it would have been a perfect way to cement the Arsenal defence. But what went wrong? Arsenal had the money available to buy Gary Cahill after combining the selling of Cesc Fabregas and Samir Nasri for a £60 million price tag between the two sales. However, the bid made by Arsenal was described by Bolton Wanderers as derisory, meaning ridiculously small or inadequate. So this story about Gary Cahill really resonates the facts of the Arsenal board. Now, for years, fans of the Arsenal Football Club, including those online and on YouTube channels, have criticised the board's spending and transfer policy, with the fact that clubs seem to be saving money rather than spending it. Now, Arsenal's transfer policy has come under scrutiny many times, even during the last 10 years of Arsene Wenger's reign, when he brought in the likes of Rob Holding, Alex Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Back in those days when they only made one signing and sold off their best talent, it was real documented that the fans had had enough of Wenger and they'd been calling him to go for years because of how he was managing the squad and also about the club's transfer policy, really documenting their frustrations towards the rest of the board. This Gary Cahill story is no exception. The fact that the money was available after the selling of Cesc Fabregas and Samir Nasri, and the fact the club didn't put in a better bid to buy Gary Cahill from Bolton. Instead, he went across to London rivals Chelsea in January, and he became one of Chelsea's great modern centre-backs in Premier League history. This story really resonates the fact that Arsenal didn't spend enough and they sold more. The next player in this video is a former Chelsea and current Manchester United star. Used to be at Valencia as well, and this transfer could have shaped the future of Arsenal's midfield. This guy was Juan Mata. Overall, Arsenal decided the deal for Juan Mata was way too expensive, and Chelsea went ahead and signed him instead. This was another case of Arsenal being too afraid to spend money from the old regime. And I believe that this old regime really dented Arsenal's progress as a football club and their continued search for success. Title after title after title the fans cried for, but they didn't get it. And my main reason for that is because they didn't spend and they tried to keep and be very nostalgic and keep the old team together. And in my opinion, this was not the best tactic in the modern world of football, because keeping the old team together really didn't freshen up any ideas, and it made it more and more sense to sign new players, because the teams could figure out old plans from last season way too quickly, and they could sniff them out, and teams can win after win after win and beat Arsenal. This whole cycle and this whole situation really escalated and the fans got too tired of the board's old ways. With the new board in, Arsenal can now try and motivate and move forward, especially with Mikel Arteta's guidership. Mikel Arteta can become a standout manager at Arsenal. However, back in those days, maybe Juan Mata could have been the option for that attacking midfield. When Arsenal left the negotiations table, Chelsea signed Juan Mata for an impressive £23 million. The following summer after that, though, Arsenal did sign a Spanish attacking midfielder, but they signed Santi Cazorla for only £10 million. Now, even though Santi Cazorla was loved by the fans, this was another prime example of how the board was willing to spend as less as possible to try and improve the team, if they were to improve it at all, and the old regime just wasn't working for the modern day of football. A young attacking midfielder was exactly what the squad needed to improve and improving their depth in those attacking midfield positions. However, with this £10 million signing instead of the 20-odd million they could have spent on Juan Mata the year before, I personally believe that that could have been their downfall in their midfield position, with the likes of Ramsey leaving, Wilshere leaving, and the likes of Xhaka and Torreira moving in future years to try and improve the Arsenal midfield. "We knew he was good," said Dick Law. Now you're probably thinking, who was that directed to? Well, it was about our third and final player in this video, the goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois, who was at Belgian club Genk at the time. Now, Thibaut Courtois, as we know already, is a former Chelsea and current Real Madrid goalkeeper. And Arsenal have had their goalkeeping problems for years. When looking at a young Thibaut Courtois, they were definitely interested. Even though after they left Highbury and moved to the Emirates Stadium in 2006, and they admitted that there was an acceptance they need to be more careful with money, those were days gone by, and Thibaut Courtois was a young keeper on the rise that Arsenal could have brought in. Now, with the four keepers that the club already had in Manuel Almunia, Vito Mannone, Łukasz Fabianski and Wohan Szczęsny, there was a need for a new goalkeeper, especially with fans complaining about Almunia's performances. Thibaut Courtois would have been the young upcoming option. However, Thibaut Courtois was brought into Chelsea instead, and of course sold on later on to Real Madrid just a couple of years ago. Now, obviously Arsenal don't have much of a goalkeeping problem anymore with Bernd Leno in the side. Even though he makes several mistakes a couple of times, he's still their number one goalkeeper choice, and he's the goalkeeper that Arsenal have been craving for years to make hardly any mistakes. However, if Thibaut Courtois had come into Arsenal, that could have been a very different story. Now that is it at looking at three Arsenal players that never became Arsenal players: Gary Cahill, Juan Mata and Thibaut Courtois. Now thank you very much for watching this amazing video. Please give this video a like if you want to see more amazing videos like this. Comment down below your thoughts on these players, and if you want to see me do another 3 players that Arsenal could have signed, and other clubs as well. And make sure you subscribe to the channel for more football and basketball content combined, and click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. Thank you very much guys, I am the CHALL, goodbye.